A man who once ruled the movie screens like an unstoppable force, punching through bad guys and saving the day with just a glare and a twist of his wrist. Steven Seagal, the tough guy hero of the 80s and 90s, made our hearts race with movies like Under Siege, where he took down terrorists on a big ship all by himself. He wasn't just acting, he was like a real-life warrior, strong and silent, making us believe in justice and power. But now, at 73, his story has turned into something so sad, it breaks your heart. Behind all that tough exterior, there's a life full of broken dreams, lost loves, and a body that's betraying him after years of battles. 3 failed marriages, a career that crashed like a wave hitting the shore, and the quiet pain of watching everything he built fade away. It's like seeing a mighty oak tree, once tall and unbreakable, now bending under the weight of too many storms. What happened to this legend? How did the man who seemed invincible end up fighting his toughest fight off the screen? Let's dive into his story together, feeling every high and every heartbreaking low. And if Steven Seagal ever made you feel like a hero in your own life, hit that like button right now as a little nod to the man who inspired so many. It's hard to believe that the guy who looked like he could take on the world started out so weak he could barely breathe. Steven Frederick Seagal came into this world on April 10, 1952, in Lansing, Michigan. His family wasn't fancy or rich. His dad, Samuel, was a math teacher who worked hard every day. And his mom, Patricia, was a medical tech who put in long hours to keep food on the table. They loved their boy. But life was tough from the start. Little Steven was sickly, so thin and frail that people worried if he'd even make it. Asthma gripped him tight, like an invisible monster squeezing his chest. Nights were scary. He'd wheeze "Atiu" and gasp, and his mom would stay up, listening to every breath, terrified it might stop. While other kids ran around outside, playing tag or climbing trees, Steven sat by the window, watching and wishing he could join them. School was no better. Kids teased him for being different, their words hurting as much as his tight lungs. He felt bad for his parents too, knowing they spent every penny on doctors and medicine just for him. His biggest enemy wasn't some bully, it was his own body, fighting him from the inside. By the time he was 5 in 1957, things got so bad that his family had to make a big change. Michigan's cold winters were like poison to his lungs, making everything worse. So, they packed up everything and moved to Fullerton, California, hoping the warm sun would help him breathe easier. It wasn't easy for anyone. His dad had to find new work, and his mom started over in a strange place. But they did it all for Steven. And guess what? The sunshine worked like magic. For the first time, he could run a little, play a bit, without feeling like he was drowning. He still wasn't the strongest kid, but that move saved him. Looking back, Steven would say it was like being born again. He could finally fill his lungs without fear. That weak little boy started to dream of being strong. From those scary nights gasping for air, a fire grew inside him. A need to prove he wasn't fragile anymore. It was like the universe was testing him early, building him up for bigger fights ahead. Who knew that scared kid would one day become a master of martial arts? When Steven was 22 in 1974, he did something brave that changed everything. He left America and went to Japan, a place where few outsiders were welcome, especially in the secret world of Aikido dojos. Aikido is a martial art about using an enemy's force against them, all smooth and powerful. But getting in wasn't easy. People there saw him as a stranger, doubting if an American could handle their tough ways. Then he met Miyako Fujitani, the daughter of a top Aikido master in Osaka. She was already a black belt, strong and smart, teaching others. Their love opened doors for him. Through her, he got to train in real dojos, but it was no fairy tale. The training was brutal. Slams to the mat that made his bones hurt. Endless practice until he could barely stand. Students stared at him with suspicion, like he didn't belong. Masters pushed him harder, testing if he'd quit. Nights in Osaka felt lonely, the streets cold and unfamiliar. Doubt crept in, whispering he should go home. But Miyako's quiet words kept him going, reminding him that true strength comes from not giving up. Slowly, things changed. By the late 1970s, Steven wasn't just surviving. He was shining. His moves got sharper, like flowing water that could crash like a rock. The same people who doubted him started to respect him. He even got to help teach, and then, amazingly, he became one of the first Americans to run his own Aikido dojo in Japan. Can you imagine? The kid who couldn't breathe now teaching masters in a faraway land. It was all sweat, pain, and never quitting. But even that wasn't enough for Steven. He felt a pull for something bigger, a way to share his strength with the whole world. The dojo was great, but it felt too small. He dreamed of movies, of showing millions what real power looked like. So, he packed up and headed back to America, ready to chase that dream. Little did he know, the real battles were just starting. Back in the US in the early 1980s, Steven wasn't a star yet. He was just a guy with skills and big hopes. At 31, he opened an Aikido dojo in West Hollywood with his friend Haruo Matsuoka. It was tiny, hidden in the busy city, but it carried all the lessons from Japan. At first, it was rough. Not many students came, and bills piled up like Mount Maung. He'd sweep the floors late at night, staring at empty mats, wondering if he'd make rent. People didn't get Aikido. It wasn't about punching or kicking, but redirecting energy. Some tried a class and left, saying it was too weird, like dancing. Steven taught all day, then worried all night. He took side jobs, like helping with fight scenes in movies such as The Challenge in 1982 and Never Say Never Again in 1983. Those gigs kept the lights on, but he wanted more. He watched actors pretend to fight and thought, I can do this better. I've lived it. Agents said no. Doors slammed shut. He was just a broke martial arts guy to them. But Steven had faced worse. The asthma, the doubts in Japan. He kept training, kept believing. Those lonely nights made him tougher. The dream was alive, even if the world didn't see it yet. Then, in 1988, at 36, everything exploded. Steven got his big break in Above the Law. He even helped write it. It was a risk. An unknown guy with a ponytail leading a movie. But wow, did it work? His fights were real, not fake flips, but quick, hard moves that hurt to watch. People loved it. He wasn't flashy, he was scary good. Suddenly, he was a star. Movies like Hard to Kill in 1990, Marked for Death in 1990, and Out for Justice in 1991 came fast, each one bigger. He played the quiet hero who showed up and won. By 1992, Under Siege made him a legend. As Casey Ryback, a cook who's really a tough Navy SEAL, he saved a battleship from bad guys. It made over $150 million. Steven stood with big names like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. For a while, he was on top, redefining action heroes. The weak kid was now the strongest man on screen. It felt like nothing could stop him. But life has a way of turning things upside down. By the mid-1990s, action movies like his weren't as popular. People wanted different stories. Steven tried directing Nung on Deadly Ground in 1994, putting his heart into it with messages about saving the earth. He cared so much about the environment, but critics hated it, and it flopped. It hurt him bad. He said it was from his soul, but maybe folks weren't ready. He kept going with Under Siege 2 in 1995 and Executive Decision in 1996, but the hits weren't as big. Box offices slowed. One day, crowds cheered. The next, they walked past his posters. By the late 1990s, his movies went straight to video, no theaters. For a guy who ruled the world, it was like being forgotten. He felt like he was drowning again, just like his childhood asthma. The pain was deep, watching his fame slip away. When movies faded, Steven turned to music, something he'd loved since he was a kid. In 2005, he put out songs from The Crystal Cave and Mojo Priest in 2006. It was bluesy stuff, raw and from his heart. On stage, guitar in hand, he wasn't the action guy anymore. Just Steven, sharing his soul. But people were mean. Critics said his voice was off, his songs not great. TV shows joked about him. What he hoped would heal him turned into more hurt. He played small shows anyway, even if crowds were tiny or laughed. He said he just wanted to share the music he loved. It kept him going, like a light in the dark. Through all the mockery, he didn't stop. That's the real strength, keeping on when everyone says quit. Business was next. He tried a video game called Deadly Honor in the late 1990s, but it got canceled before anyone played it. Then, at 53, an energy drink with his name, full of power like him. It fizzled out fast, just forgotten cans now. He made smells and martial arts stuff too, but nothing stuck. The worst was his big house in Tennessee, worth almost $4 million at first. It sat empty, sold for $500,000. Losing money hurt, but losing people's belief in him hurt more. It was like his whole legend crumbling. Love was even harder. His first marriage to Miyako in Japan gave him 2 kids, but when he chased Hollywood, distance broke them. He left her raising them alone. Regret hit hard. He said he chased the world but lost his family. Then a quick marriage to actress Adrienne LaRussa in the 1980s ended fast, born from loneliness. No kids, just more emptiness. His big love was with Kelly LeBrock, the beautiful actress. They married in the late 1980s, had 3 kids. It looked perfect. Glamour, laughter, family. But fame poisoned it. He was away filming. Rumors of cheating spread. Trust broke. By 1994, as his career dipped, so did the marriage. Divorce was messy, with fights over kids and money. Kelly raised them mostly alone. Steven missed so much, and it haunted him. He said fame took him everywhere but home. Later, in the 2000s, he found peace with Erdenetuya Batsuk, a dancer from Mongolia. They married, had a son named Kunzang. Now, with 7 kids total, he's a grandpa too. This love is quiet, steady. But he still feels the pain of missing time with the others. Family is his anchor now, even with regrets. His body betrays him too. Years of fights left him sore. Wrists, knees, back. He got heavier, moves slower. Once lightning fast, now he takes it easy. A bad choke once knocked him out. In his 70s, it's meditation, light training, careful eating. The mirror shows lines, extra weight. Tabloids mock, but it's grief for him, losing the body that made him famous. Yet he keeps going, proving strength is about enduring. Today, at 73, he lives quietly in Arizona, in a big house with bulletproof windows, samurai statues, and a fancy pool. His money's about $14 million, not huge like his old rivals. Cars like a 1973 Mustang and Jaguar XEJ220 sit in the garage, reminders of faster days. He does small films, focuses on family. The thunder's gone, but peace remains. His story shows glory fades, but spirit lasts. From sick kid to star to quiet elder, it's about fighting on. What about you? Which Seagal movie made you pump your fist? Share below, like for the legend, share with friends, and subscribe so we can keep telling these heartfelt stories. Let's remember the warriors who shaped us,